Welcome to Market Recap Live. I'm your host, Joseph Martin, and thank God it's Friday. Tonight, we are taking a look at ticker GIS. You might know them better as General Mills. General Mills Incorporated was founded in 1928 by James Ford Bell, with the first flour mill opening in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Now they are a global manufacturer and marketer of branded consumer foods in the consumer staples space. That's what that should say. It's not even right. And they are listed in the S&P 500 index. General Mills' primary competitors are Kraft Heinz, Mondelez International, and Campbell's. So today we are going to review General Mills earnings and take a look at their website. But before we do that, let's do our roll call and check our stream poll. We are streaming live on YouTube and Facebook. Let's get this chat going and tell us where you're tuning in from. Put a YT in the chat if you're tuning in from YouTube, and put an FB in the chat if you're tuning in from Facebook. We are building a community over here for people who want to take control of their financial situation by learning how to unlock the wealth building power of the stock market. And we are streaming live Monday through Friday following trading sessions at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. U.S. stock market regular trading hours are 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And there's a link for the New York Stock Exchange calendar down in the description. Okay, let's get to these earnings. Let's get to it. General Mills, ticker symbol GIS, the $19.45 billion consumer staples company, reported its third quarter earnings March 18, 2026. GIS is listed in the packaged foods industry inside the consumer staples sector. They have a 52-week high of $62.61, which took place in May 2025, and a 52-week low of $35.63, which occurred March 2026, which occurred this month, which is a trading range of $26.98 and closed today at $36.43. General Mills earnings report missed on the top line and missed on the bottom line, as strategic reinvestments and divestitures pressured results. They reported revenue of $4.4 billion, which was lower than the market expectations of $4.41 billion. Their EPS were lower than the analyst and market expectations of 74 cents when they reported an adjusted EPS of 64 cents. General Mills reported a GAAP net income of $303.1 million, which is lower than the $613 million net income they reported this same quarter last year, which is a decrease of 51%. So for the third fiscal quarter of 2025, their net profit was approximately 50. That's not right. It would be a roughly 100%. It would be roughly 100% higher than it is compared to now, a year later. General Mills' 52-week high of $62.61 took place in May 2025, and today the stock reached a daily high of $36.93. I am noticing the stock is trading near its 52-week lows after a sharp decline. This represents a decline of 41.8% over a span of approximately 10 months. So if an investor put in $1,000 at that 52-week high, they would currently be seeing a loss of $418. The earnings were released before the market closed, followed by an 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time conference call. If that was the case, then the earnings were released before the market opened. Management reaffirmed full-year guidance, but noted that organic net sales are expected to decline between 1.5% and 2%. All right, so I want to talk to you guys about why we visit these company websites and why we read the description. We visit company websites and read descriptions with the goal of quickly finding answers to these three key questions, okay? Which are, what does the company do? What goods and or services do they sell? And how important are the goods and or services they provide to their customers? What is the demand for it? How high or low is it? Now, let's look at General Mills to see what answers we can find. We are browsing for 4 areas on their website to answer those questions. The home page for goods and or services, about us for the company vision and mission, careers for employee benefits and opportunities, and investor relations for SEC filings and stock quotes. All right. And for your convenience, all companies featured in tonight's stream are down in the description. So now you know what we're looking at and why we on these websites. So let's go. Okay, we're on the General Mills website. Let me zoom in. There we go. So immediately, goods and services, food, guys. They sell food. Now we can see what kind of food and what their brands are. We make food the world loves for more than 150 years. Let's see if we can see some of their brands. Okay, right there. Says it, our brands. It mentions what their brands are that the company owns as a subsidiary or what they make, those words we talked about before. So you got Cheerios, Blue Buffalo, Betty Crocker, Pillsbury, Old El Paso, Nature Valley. And that's probably just to name a few. So this is news that's going on with the company. So since they sell food, let's click on food, see if we can see some more brands we recognize. All right, so we see that. We see what the goods and services. So that's the home page. Now at the bottom, we're going to look for the Our Company. I don't see it at the bottom. Let's go to the top. About Us, right here. So history, leadership, our impact, and work with us. About Us. Let's go to learn more. About Us, our purpose, making food the world loves. So this is where you're going to go to find out their mission, the company's vision, and the company's mission. Bringing good to the world, and our brand is a love story about food. So you can read this and go over this at your own convenience. The links are down in the description. All right. Now we're going to look for the career section. So down at the bottom, we can see it says search jobs and then see career areas. So let's just click that. And sometimes when we go to these company websites under careers, it'll tell you what they offer, like their benefit packages, the different roles, the different job opportunities they have. So here it is right here, all career areas. Find your right fit. Find your right fit. The hiring process, offers, interview, apply. They give you resources. Explaining the interview process. Okay, so now let's go to the investors relations. Where can we find that at? At the top, home. Let's go to home. This look like a whole different, this ain't the main page we went to. This ain't even, they done took us to a whole nother website, I think. Close this out. This is not the home page. I'm clicking General Mills. It's not bringing it up. I click home. It ain't bringing it up. Back. All right. We're going to trick it. Go right here to careers. Take that off. It still say careers in here. So let's take that out and put www. There we go. We back to the home page. And here's investors. That was a headache. Got to be resourceful, guys. Figure out how to do this stuff because problems gonna happen. You got to be resourceful. So here's the investors relations page. Now we want to find the stock quote information. The SEC filings is down here at the bottom. I just want to show you guys for educational purposes where to find this information on companies' websites. So right here, it says all stock information. So you click there. Here's the stock quote. Here's the stock chart, investment calculator, et cetera, et cetera. All right, so now let's talk about this. Want to talk about the mobile limitations before we look at the Thinkorswim platform. So before we look at the charts, remember, professionals trade from a computer, not a mobile device. Mobile trading apps are limited. Traders lose critical detail and advanced platform features on a mobile screen. So be advised, trading from a phone is usually the least effective way for managing assets. To see every detail, use a full trading platform and watch these streams on a computer or TV. Only use a phone as a last resort. Now let's look at the charts for GIS on Thinkorswim. Put me back on the screen. Go to charts, type in GIS in the ticker symbol box. So here, oh my goodness. This stock ain't doing nothing but going down, ain't it? Boom. So we looking at a 2-year daily chart. So this 52-week, this is not a 52-week high. They're giving you the high over a span of 2 years. So let's change the time frame. So we're going to change this to a 1-year daily chart. So the 52-week high in the last year was $62.61, and they just reached the 52-week low on Wednesday. And here's how I know. I'm gonna zoom in. This is today's candle right here. So Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, and that's when they had their 52-week low. And the price is currently trading below the 9 simple day moving average, and the 200-day simple moving average is trading below both of those, and trading near the 52-week low. And I would say I'm trying to find some support, but I don't see any previous prices in this time frame. This stock just been going down for a while. So let me see if we put a 10. Nope, I don't have to do that. Just go back. So right here, now we're looking at a 10-year weekly chart. So with this, I'm blocking it. So let me take me off the screen so we can see. This is a 10-year time frame, and the candles represent weeks. Okay. So if we use a time machine, like looking at this time, this is the 2026, 2025. These white lines are dividing it. So everything between here, 2024, 23, 22, 21, 20, 2019, these price levels for this stock are the same levels or near the same levels as 2018. And this is why I've found it useful to look at multiple time frames, so you can find previous areas of support and resistance. So now when we draw this as previous support and resistance, and when we look at where this is now, we don't even have to, I'll zoom in on the weekly chart. You can see that it closed right on that support from how many years ago? So 18, 26, 6 years ago. Am I doing that right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, I didn't do that right. 2026, 2018, 8 years ago. So 8 years ago, it's found support from 8 years ago. Now let's go back to the 1-year daily chart and get the stock quote for today. So we're going to cut on our floating data box, put me back on the screen. Been off the screen for a minute, running my mouth. So floating data box, and now we're going to get the stock quote for today. Zoom in. So the stock quote for today, General Mills opened at $36.17. They had a high of $36.92, and they had a low of $35.83, and they closed today at $36.45, which was a trading range of $1.09. The volume they had today was 8.9 million shares of this company was traded today. That number is right here where it says volume. And when we compare that to our rank percentile for volume, out of the most recent 252 trading days, only 36 days had more volume than today. So this put this in the 85.7 rank percentile for volume. All right, so we looked at the earnings. So we went over that. So let's talk to the community. Back to the community. I would appreciate it very much if you guys share the stream, hit the like button, subscribe, and if you wish to send a monetary gift To support the content, Cash App and PayPal links are down in the description, as well as on the ticker I just put on the screen. All right. So now we're about to look at the S&P 500 ETF SPY that tracks the S&P 500 index to see what it did today. So we go up here to the symbol box after I put me back on the screen so you can see what's going on. Take this floating data box off. All right, so we type in SPY, SPY. So here's another day, guys, Friday. It fell even further out of that consolidation. Not consolidation. Let me zoom out. That's not consolidation, I don't think. It fell out of that range it was trading in. So it was consolidating up here. And this range was where it was finding some support. And it was dancing around the 9-day simple moving average and the 200-day simple moving average. And Thursday, it fell below the support and it went even further today. So let's get the ETF quote. Would you call it? I don't think you would call it a stock quote. That's why I said ETF, because it's not a stock, it's ETF. So we're going to get the ETF quote for today on this. So let's put the floating data box back on the screen. So the SPY S&P 500 ETF opened today at $642.50. They had a high of $642.66. They had a low of $633.11, and they closed today at $634.09, which was a trading range of $9. And when we look at the volume was 103.6 million shares of this ETF was traded today, and it put it in the 88.9% volume percentile. 28 days out of the last 252 trading days had higher volume than today. So that's what we're looking at with that. And this ETF gives investors an opportunity to participate in the S&P 500's index performance, because you can't invest directly in the S&P 500. Now let's look at today's winners and losers. And first, we are going to look at the loser so we can end the night on a high note. All right. So let's go over to, put me back on the screen, to the Market Watch tab. We already have the S&P 500 watch list pulled up. I'll show you how to do that. There you go. And now we're going to look at the biggest loser for today. So the loser for today is ticker DDOG. Company name is Datadog. So the previous close was $124.30. They closed today at $114.48, which was a percentage loss of 7.9%. So if someone invested $1,000 at this previous closing price and closed the position at today's closing price, they would have lost $79 on their $1,000 investment. I'll use the calculator later in the show. I want to speed up a little bit. So let's go to analyze. And right here, we can see that ticker DDOG is in the information technology sector. And now I'm going to take me off the screen so you can see the official company name under company profile is Datadog Incorporated. Here's their website, and their website is also in the link of the description for your convenience. So let's read some of this description. Datadog Incorporated operates an observability and security platform for cloud applications in the United States and internationally. Okay, so let's go to their website. I already had it pulled up, but I popped it up on this other screen. All right, so blow this up. We're going to take, put me back on the screen. There we go. All right, now let's zoom in. Now remember, what we're looking for is to find out what their goods and services are on this home page. AI-powered observability and security. Thousands of customers love and trust Datadog. So here are some of their customers' names. Here's some information about what they plan to do for the future. Here's some of their products and infrastructure. Here's some career information they have on their homepage. That's nice. Look at all it. This is a bunch of stuff at the bottom of their website. I haven't seen this much stuff at the bottom of somebody's website before. All right, so now we're gonna look for, not contact us, leadership. I don't see about us at the bottom. Here it is. So we see about, what they say about, but it doesn't say about us. You got contact. I don't see our company, like where I can find the vision, the company vision and the company mission. So let's just go to leadership and browse over this. So about, Datadog is the observability and security platform for cloud applications. So it shows you who their leadership is, their names and pictures, their positions that they work for, et cetera, et cetera. And then the board of directors is down at the bottom. Okay, let's go to careers. Let me see if I can find that on the bottom of this page. Careers, here we are. So let's go to careers. Join our pack. So you can search all their jobs, join the talent community. This zoomed us out. It's probably hard for you to see. Let me zoom back in. So candidate experience. So they even have a video to help you walk through the careers process. Remember, the link is down in the description for your convenience, so you can review and look at this stuff and at your leisure on your own time. Engineering, these are the different positions. They even tell you how many positions they have. I don't know if that's how many they currently have or positions that's probably, I hope they don't need to have 122 positions filled. That must be positions they currently have in those different roles. Grow around the globe. Here's some awards. Okay, now let's find the investor relations. Here it is. Website not found. Oh my goodness. I don't like when this happened, guys. I really don't. Website not found. Sorry, we could not find any content for this web address. Please check the URL. So when I click investors relations, that's the disclaimer. That's the notification I got. So let's go back to the top. Maybe that link is broken. Maybe we can find another link. Let's go to their homepage. Is this going to be another one of them things where we can't get to their homepage? That's what it seemed like. Okay, back worked. So investor relations. We're back on the main. We're not. This say leadership. I'm going to mess with this up here. This website address to go back to the main page and see if we can reach the investors information from here. Investors relations. You see that? So that was a broken link we found on their website. Well, you got to go through some. Woo. So here's the stock information on their website. We want to find the actual stock quote and the charts. Here's some SEC information. So we click on this. Nope, nothing. This does not take us to the stock quote. So financial quarter resort, SEC's filings, quarter law, Nope. I don't think they show you the stock quote and chart information. Because usually on websites you can click this. But anyway, let's move on. We ain't gonna spend a whole bunch of time on this. They the biggest loser today too. Yes, because we do the biggest loser first. You're a data company and you're having trouble with your website. In my opinion, that's not a good look. It's really not. So let's go to the charts. Datadog. So when we look at what's going on with this price, it is trading below the 9-day simple moving average and the 200-day simple moving average. Let me take this floating data box off so we can try to do some technical analysis to find some support and resistance. Here, I would say. So this is another one of those situations where what I'm seeing are zones. I'm not seeing a clean support line. I'm seeing zones. And I'll show you what I mean. Let me do the line first. So if I was to do a support line, support or resistance, it's not really catching the bottom. It's catching the top over here, and then it broke through it. It touched it there. We can use a line. This is okay to use a line right here. So let me zoom in. So it broke support right here. It opened below support. But I like to see this line like on the body or on the wick, and it's in the body of these. So since it's in the body of these, you see how this one isn't touching. It's not touching enough. It was breaking over here. You can use this as a line because this is kind of tight. Like if you was to draw a zone, it would look like this, just so you can see what I was talking about. Now, if we extended that zone, drag this over, you can see that it would. Let me remove this drawing and do it again. Go back to the zone, drag this over. This moves slow. Now go back to the tool to draw the zone. And we start right over here. So now when I draw the zone, that's what it would look like. So you can see how this candle came to the zone, but it didn't come to that line. So it would be a zone of support and resistance. This is how I see it. This is what I'm getting from this for the technicals. All right, so let's read the stock quote for Datadog today so we can move on. So go to the floating data box right here in the settings. We mouse over it and let's get it. So Datadog opened at $120. They had a high of $120.64. They had a low of $112.66. And they closed today at $114.48, which was a trading range of $7.98. And when we look at the volume, they had 6.1 million shares of their company traded today, which was in the 76.2% volume percentile. Volume rank percentile right here. So out of the most recent 252 trading days, 60 days had more volume than today. That's what we see with Datadog. Okay, so let's move on to our winner for today. We go to Market Watch and put this ticker back on the screen. Click percentage change, and there we are. Ticker ETR gained 6.82% today. And it looks like the name of the company is Entergy. Sounds like Medea, don't it? Entergy. Entergy Corporation. And they had a previous close of $102.86. And they closed today at $109.88. So here, let's pull up that calculator so we can do the hypothetical of the $1,000 investment. So we multiply this times the percentage change as a decimal. So that will be 0.0682. So the percentage gain, the amount, the ROI, the return on investment would be $68.20. And then we add that back to the $1,000 investment. So the investment would have grown to $1,068.20. All right, so let's select this company, go over to analyze. Ticker ETR is in the utilities sector. And we're going to go down to the company profile section. And the company's official name is Entergy Corporation. Here's the website. It's also in the link in the description for your convenience. Entergy Corporation, together with its subsidiaries, engages in the production and retail distribution of electricity in the United States. We're done. Let's go to their website. There we go. Zoom in. Where are we at? We at 150 now. Okay, Entergy. So we're on the home page. We're trying to find out what their goods and services are. They are a utilities provider. Energy. Looks like electricity. Entergy Mississippi completes restoration of power to all customers. Arkansas. So those are some different locations. Texas. Louisiana. So they definitely in more than one state. Well, this is a short home page. That was pretty quick. Here's some more information right here. I left this ticker on the screen. Goodness. Okay, so right down here, I would put me up here and block it. So they have the company name. These are different subsidiaries, I believe. All right, so career opportunities. We are looking for the About Us. Maybe it's at the top. They have customers, communities, investors, operations, About Us. So they got our histories, values, and ethics. So I would think the vision and mission is going to be in values and ethics, but just for educational purposes, we'll visit both. So our history, no, let me put me back on the screen. Yeah, this is just history. This isn't vision and mission stuff. So we can go back to the top. About us, our values and ethics. At Entergy, we're committed to a system of shared values that guide interactions with our customers, employees, communities, and owners. So this is where they go over how they're going to go about delivering the goods and services to their customers. So at your convenience, the link is down in the description. You can read over this, but this is how you find it on their website. So let's go to the, not customers, the careers. Here it is, career opportunity. They zoomed us out. Zoom in. Is that 150? Yes. So they have the jobs here, about here. So in the career section is where they have the who we are. So let's browse over this page real quick. It doesn't look like it's that long. So they tell you why you should join the company, the different career opportunities that they offer. You can search jobs by location. That's pretty cool. I got to take me off the screen so you can see that. You can search the jobs by location because they have a map there. All right, now let's go to jobs, engineering. So they tell you about the different areas that they have for jobs. It doesn't mean it's necessarily open, but these are the different positions they have for the company. Then you can view all jobs here. So let's go to investors relations. We covered the first three. So let's go to that. I think it'll be down here at the bottom. Nope. See, they took us to a whole nother website. Can we go back? Does that work? Nope. Yep, it's a whole nother website. So we go back here to the main website. And once this leaves the screen, I can see, okay, investors. I'm looking for the, so it's it. Let's just go to overview. Maybe overview will present all the other links. Yes, it does. So here it is. Let's zoom in. We at 150. Yes. So here's the stock information. It's not the stock quote. It's the stock information. Corporate overview. Entergy produces, transmits, and distributes electricity to power life for 3 million customers through our operating compliances in Arkansas, operating companies in Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Texas. Okay, so now we got a clearer understanding about that. And I believe we're going to have to click on this to get the stock quote and chart. Now, this is what I was talking about earlier when we looked at another company's stock information, and when you couldn't click it and it wouldn't take you to the stock quote and the stock chart. And it looks like the company pays dividends. So they have the dividend history here. And let me go back to stock quote. I'm not trying to scroll through all. I want to see it. And then we have the historical stock quote down here. All right, let's go to the Thinkorswim platform so we can look at this company on the charts. So let's put this back on the screen. Here we go. ETR is already pulled up. Ooh, this has just been moving up, guys. So the price, we are looking at the, take the floating data box off. And I'm on the screen, so I'm blocking it so you can see this. So this is a 1 year daily chart. I'm going to extend it to a 2-year so we can bring it further over to the right of the screen. And we can pretty much see, I'm gonna draw a couple lines here. It was trending, it was consolidating. I don't have a snap on. Let me go ahead and put the snap on high, open, high, low, close, snap drawings too. We're gonna use that. I like the bottom of this candle right here. Okay. So it was trading in that range, and then it just got tighter and tighter, this range that it was trading in. So I'm going to use this. So I would say this was the range it was dealing with here for a while, and temporarily it was trading in this range right here. We'll use the top of this. So it was 2 ranges that it was trading in for a while. Change this to a arrow. So this range here and this range here. So it was consolidating in here. When it broke out in this area here, it came back, it tested it on the 9-day simple moving average and this support. This resistance, the previous resistance became support, and then it came back, it tested it again, and then it was uptrending from there. Then it was consolidating again in this range here. So I'll draw another resistance line. And then it broke and it started using that as support. And now it's going up even more. So that's the quick little technical analysis I'm getting on that. It is in a uptrend over a long period of time. It's been uptrending for 2 years. It has found areas where it consolidated, but it resumes the uptrend after the consolidation from what we're seeing on the charts historically. So we're going to look at the stock quote for today. So we're going to zoom in. I zoomed in a lot, didn't I? Pull this over. And can I do that here? Yeah. So we can do this. And let me pull my floating data box back up, and we're going to get the stock quote for today. So today, ticker ETR, Entergy, opened at $106. Put me back on the screen at $106. It opened at $106.06. It had a high of $111.99. They had a low of $104.94. And they closed today at $109.88. And that was a trading range of $7.05. In the trading volume, they traded 9 million shares of their company today. And I'm seeing that down here where it says volume. And then when we look at the volume percentile, only one day out of the most recent 252 trading days had higher volume than today. It was almost 100%. So this is an extremely bullish candle right here that we're looking at on this chart. Okay. All right, we can go ahead and get ready to wrap it up, guys. I believe we had a really good show. So let's go over here to this, get this going. You already know. I hope that you learned something, and I hope that you earned something. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. If you haven't done so already, make sure you check out the whole life insurance link I have down in the description. And make sure you tune in weekdays following a market trading session at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Take care and God bless.